Okay, hello everybody. My name is Jake Vale. I'm a professional motocross racer, four-wheeler racer, you name it. I've raced it. So I'm gonna make this simple. We're not gonna have intro music. We're not gonna put up all kinds of flashy shit on the screen and all this other stuff. No. We're gonna talk about bikes today and only bikes. So this is a dual sport review, buyer's guide, ultimate buyer's guide. And I'm gonna tell you why. The reason is because I've rode all the bikes, guys, and I've been racing my whole life, so I know what I'm talking about. I don't need to show you all the bikes. You guys already know the bikes. I know I'm driving my truck right now, so it's kind of goofy, but I need to get this video out to you guys so you can make a better informed decision. So, number one thing that's going to determine what bike you're going to get is going to be your size. Don't listen to all these other people that are telling you, this, that, and the other, and, they're going off of the weight of the motorcycle and the size of the engine and all this other shit and blah, blah, blah. Should you get a KTM? Should you get this? I'm going to tell you guys, it's going to determine, what bike you get or what you should be on is going to be determined by your size. So if you're a 250 pound, 6'5" guy, you are going to have to get a big ass bike. You're going to be looking at 650s. You're going to be looking at the DR 650, the XR 650, the XR 650R, the big KTMs, the KTM 500 and bigger. Those are going to be your bike. If you get anything smaller than a 650 or 500 KTM or 525, there's a bunch of different sizes. But basically anything bigger than a DRZ 400 or like a 450 bike, that's going to be for your 250 pound guy and bigger, or your taller guy. I don't care how good you are. I don't care how good you can race. You're not going to be able to ride the bike hard enough unless you are a certain size. Okay, so what else should you need to know? So with that being said, the size of the bike determining, which enduro or dual sport you should get, that's the number one thing that's going to decide it. If you're 125 pounds and you're a novice rider and you haven't ever ridden, then get a 200 or a 225 or a 250. That's going to be more than enough bike for you guys. The Yamaha XT 225, I'm 160 pounds, 6 foot, professional racer, and that bike is fun to ride. It's not the fastest thing, it doesn't do wheelies, but it goes through the trails and you can ride that thing all day long without getting tired, and it doesn't vibrate hard. All your race bikes, all your 450s are going to vibrate, guys. Anything that is anything that's not getting 3,000 mile oil changes is going to be a vibrating son of a bitch. So that means like your WR 450, your KTMs, your Betas, basically any of those bikes are going to be, they're going to vibrate more. They're going to make it a little bit harder to ride. I'm not saying that the big debate is WR 450 or DRZ 450, depending on your size. So if you're my size, if you're 6 foot, 160 pounds, trying to decide between the WR 450F and the DRZ 400 is a very hard choice to make. And the number one choice or reason that you're going to have to choose between those two bikes is going to be maintenance. Do you want to work on the bike more or ride the bike more? I want to ride more. A 250 isn't enough power. I've had a bunch of race bikes. I've had all the 450 race bikes, guys. They all blow up. All of them blow up. They all need to be maintained. Extreme maintenance if you're going to be riding it hard. So if you're one of these guys that's like, you barely ever ride your motorcycle, it's probably not going to matter as much whether you get a WR or a DRZ. But if you're going to ride this thing all the time, every day, everywhere, up and down trails, to the track, blah, 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 get the DRZ or the WR250 or the XT225 or some of these other enduros. Now, they make the 690 KTM and the 701 Husqvarna. Those are bikes, again, those are going to be for bigger guys. Can I ride those bikes? Yeah. Can I ride them as hard as they can be ridden? Yeah. Is it fun? No, not really. I feel like I'm working my ass off. And that's not why I ride, or why I'm getting out of motocross and into dual sport to ride more. I spend a lot of money to go to these races and win these races, and there's no money in racing, guys. I'll tell you that right now. I don't care how many races you win and all this crap. It takes a lot of money and a lot of time, and you win a bunch of races and you might get some free goggles, some free gear. It's not like this stuff where you see on TV, supercross shit. I don't know how that even happens, how these people even fall into this. I think it's like you got to know people to even, you know, get a Suzuki sponsorship or something. But, you know, I just wanted to make this video to help you guys choose the right bike for you. Because I'm telling you, man, if you think you need that KTM 690 and you're my size, 6 foot, 150, 175 pounds, it's too much bike for you. I'm telling you it is. I don't care. It's too big. It's too damn much. And so's the 650s. Now, if you're He-Man, if you're a bodybuilder, if you're a big dude, man, you're gonna have to get a 650. Because the 400s and the 250s ain't gonna pull you around. And you're gonna have this, what I call it, the Bowser effect. It's where you are way too big for the motorcycle and you look like you're Bowser from Mario sitting on that thing. You're just too big for it. So that's one of the common things I see. I see big guys on bikes too small, and I see little guys on bikes too big because they think they need the fucking 500 or they think they need the 650, and you fucking don't. And you're just not, you're fooling yourself. You're fooling yourself. And that's basically where I'm at. I went and test drove all these bikes, guys. I've rode them all. The 500cc dirt bikes and bigger are like desert Baja sustained 75 mile an hour bikes. These are for open, big, like the KTM 520, for example, which is also the 525, 530, 540, etc. It's kind of almost like a Husaberg. If anybody is following me, the Husabergs were really similar. It's an open class motocross bike, which means it's for freaking, like, it's for a bike bigger than Jeremy McGrath. It's for somebody that can ride like Jeremy McGrath, but is 250 pounds. I got some buddies like that. And that's the kind of bike they need. They need that big extra power. But when you put a guy on it that's my size, it's doing a burnout in a wheelie on the pavement. I'm not shitting. They got too much bark for someone that's, you know, maybe for a full, like, let's say you want to do a full super motard. You might want, if you're only going to do motard, then, or supermoto, then I highly suggest getting, you know, sure, get the bigger 500, but the 450 is going to be better for you if you're my size. I can tell you right now. The 500s are like a CR 500. So like when you get on these KTM 520s and, you know, these big 500cc, like the XR 650R, the racing version of the XR 650, these bikes are like the KX 500. It's just as bad. It's just as fast, in my opinion. Like, I've had CR 500s, aluminum frames. I've had the steel frame CR 500s, and that's what these big KTMs feel like. They feel like they got more balls than a CR KX 500, believe it or not, because they hook up better. They put more traction down, but since they are so big and so much torque, they do still spin. So you will kick the rear wheel out if you don't have enough weight on that back tire. It's going to be too squirrely for you. It's not going to be efficient hill climb bike or trail bike for you if you don't have the weight to keep the power, you know, down on that tire. So another quick thing, I'm going through, you know, dual sport, enduros, which one should you get? Let's say you have unlimited money and you're my size and you're trying to decide between the KTM 500 EXE and a DRZ 400. If you're going to do sustained road use, go with the DRZ. You're going to have a little bit less power. You're not going to have 6 gear, but you're going to be able to manhandle the bike. You're going to be able to ride the shit out of it, and you're going to be able to ride it wide open. And believe this or not, back when the DRZ came out, I was racing motocross back then. A highly modified DRZ was spanking YZ400s and YZ426s back in the day. Now when the YZ420F, YZ450 come out, that changed the whole game. And then the Honda 450 come out, and it is the most powerful out of the 450s, in my opinion, because of the way the power comes on. It's going to be the fastest for hole shots anyway. Some might disagree with that, but the bigger bikes are going to, the 500cc and above bikes are just animals. I mean, they just, even though they have the same chassis size as a 450, they feel fucking way bigger. And I don't know why that is. Maybe I know it's the exact same tire size, wheel size. Maybe they changed the offsets on the triple trees. I don't know if they changed the offsets between the 450 and 500, but it feels like a desert bike. So if you live out west, you know, like in Arizona, Nevada, you know, your area and your location, your riding style is going to be determined a lot by the bike too. So if you live out in the desert, you probably want the bigger bike. But if you live like out east and in the mountains like I do, I live out in Ohio region. I live in what's called the Ohio Valley. It's the highest elevation point in the state. We have a lot of hills, and most of the trails are like very, they're nasty, basically. It's just basically hill climbs up and down, very rutted. I would call them extreme trails compared to some of the other places I've been. Ohio's got some pretty good trails. If you can get out to Wayne National or get to some places down in northern Kentucky, there's some good trail spots for really, you know, like tight technical stuff. And that's what I do. I do a lot of tight technical riding, but I also want to be able to drive this thing to the trail so I don't have to load it up. And that's why the DRZ, for me, for my size, is going to be my next purchase for a dual sport. And this isn't something that, oh, I'm a DRZ fanboy bullshit. No, guys, it's not what it is. I'm selecting the proper bike for me, for my size, for my area, and for my riding. So that's the bike for me. And it's taken me a year and a half, maybe 2 years. I've test rode, just in this week alone, I've test rode like a dozen bikes. Some of them are my buddy's bikes. Some of them were ones I was going to go buy. I test rode them. And here's another thing. If you're looking to buy a used or new bike, here's something that I'm going to help you with. If you're going to get a DRZ, buy used. If you're going to get a WR 250R or an XT 225, buy used. Why do you need a brand new DRZ? I got mulch and shit all over my face. I just got off work, guys, so looks like I've been brown nosing somebody, but probably the DRZ guys. Ha! Right? No, so seriously, the bigger bikes are just too much for me. And as for used bikes, when you get an oil change, like 3,000 miles oil changes, most people that I've run across in the used market business can't ride. That's why they're getting rid of the bikes. So used bikes is the way to go. Pay cash, forget these payments, $13,000 for a KTM 500. 13 grand after tax for a dirt bike. I don't think so, guys. It's not that much better than the WR450F. It's not 6 grand better. All right, it's not. And the Beta 500, I think that thing's handmade in Italy. That's the only thing that makes it like somewhat appealing, is at least it's handmade in Italy. You know what I mean? It's pretty badass looking. And I haven't got, it has a lower seat height, and I haven't got to ride it yet, but supposedly it doesn't vibrate that much. But you don't know until you ride it. It's from other people have told me it's a motocross bike. So that's one of the things that you want to look out for is, do you want a motocross bike or do you want an enduro? And that's something you're gonna have to ask yourself. If you're wanting a street legal motocross bike, I don't know. I just don't think it just doesn't make any sense to me. Like, I love dirt bike riding. I've always wanted a street legal dirt bike. I've always rode my dirt bikes on the street anyway. In my four-wheeler, I don't give a shit. I'll run from the cops. I'll go down in a field. See that? That's the kind of shit that we have out here. Fields and fields and fields and hills. That's what it is. So if I'm riding my dirt bike illegally right now, all I gotta do is boom, I'm in that field and I'm gone, guys. I've rode illegally for so long, and I know that the idea of having a street legal dirt bike was like, I gotta get legalized. But what you're gonna run into is when you're riding a dirt bike for extended periods of time on the road, it vibrates so damn bad that until you ride something like the WR250 or the DRZ or the XR650L, until you ride some of these smoother bikes, you can't appreciate the road manners. And you can still bomb the shit out of them off-road. Don't let these, Google or YouTube, I wish I could put a little thing up there that said, look up XR650L on motocross track. There's, if you're 250 pounds and you're a badass rider, you can ride the XR650L. But I'm running out of time. 10 seconds left of memory, so I'll make another video. Thanks, guys.